Hi everyone, and welcome to another video that I wanted to shoot real quick. It's getting a little late and I'm enjoying a glass of wine because I still have a lot of work to do for summits and newsletters and all that needs to get done tonight now that my son is finally asleep, which is great. But tonight I want to talk with you about the topic of anxiety. And there have been quite a few people that reached out to me and said, would you mind talking about anxiety? Since I've been studying so much about emotions and what they're really supposed to do for us, and what is actually the definition of each emotion, what is bad, what is good, what is the energy behind each emotion. And it just fascinates me so much how really everything is just so connected, mind, body, spirit, and the foundation to all of this is our emotional world. As you know, and maybe you've heard me talk about that before, our emotions are the foundation to everything that we are, everything that we want to accomplish. I always say it, if you want to reach a goal, you have to get there emotionally first before you can get there physically. You have to be able to attach and to connect with your goal emotionally before you can even get there physically. So this is really how important our emotions are. But our emotions are also our natural native first language that we've ever spoken. As you heard me in another video, the one from last time called How Your Birth Story Influences Your Success Today. If you haven't watched it yet, I really encourage you to watch it, because there you can see how some of the emotional baggage that we carry with us has established over time. So again, that just shows how important emotions are to us. Even in the womb at about 6 months, and now even scientists say before 6 months, that's when we're already in the womb. 6 months in the womb is when we can differentiate different emotions. And I really full-heartedly believe that if we change our relationship to emotions to what they really are supposed to be, the messenger within, the connection between your conscious and your subconscious mind, it really is just a channel of allowing you to really walk your path, to understand your calling and your purpose in life. So emotions is literally just the connection. It's what we understand energetically that's going on inside of us. And so it always carries a very profound message with us. And I think once we change our relationship to emotions, we no longer experience them as good or bad or evil or good, whatever the separation is or the labeling of each emotion. We can overcome the barriers that are between each one of us as human beings, as individuals. I think there are a lot of barriers just because of our emotional experience. And so that then, if we can create a deeper connection between us emotionally and really connect with each other, there's less judgment, there's less hurt. We don't take as much personally when someone just has a bad day, for example. We don't respond. We don't necessarily want revenge every time. I think that's something that we're so driven as humans. Our feelings get hurt, something happened, it creates an emotional roller coaster, and then we want revenge. And it never ends good. It never ends good. Someone at the end is always losing, and it's just not where we should be as a modern society. So today, as I mentioned, I want to talk about anxiety and what this emotion really brings forth. I've been talking about fear so far. For those who follow my group, World Visionaries United Empath Warriors, you know that I talk about emotions the whole time. We talk about emotions clearing, and it's just a really impressive and fascinating topic to me. But anxiety is something that hangs around like a dark cloud with a lot of people. And I dare to say that every single one of us already has experienced anxiety at least once in their life. So you pretty much know what I'm talking about. And pretty almost like, I would say 90%. If I say every one of us has experienced anxiety, but I would say 90% of my clients experience anxiety attacks and panic attacks on a regular basis. That often comes with depressive phases or sometimes even long-term depression. So I think it is important for us to talk about it. I just recently was invited to speak at a podcast where we talk about mental health. I don't even like to say mental illness because, again, what we focus on, we create more of. So for me, it's more like a mental challenge, redeveloping or reestablishing the emotional and chemical balance within our body so the energy within us can free flow again. So I rather talk about how we can create more of mental health instead of how can we overcome mental illness, because again, it's our mind, how it works. It just hears it and acts on it, so we create more of it. Anxiety actually is part of how fear shows up. Fear and worry are often included or come with anxiety. Anxiety is a mask of fear. And it's interesting, like the more I study, there are some psychotherapists, there are some holistic psychiatrists, there are researchers that really start to understand the world of emotions more. So again, anxiety has a lot to do with fear and worry, even though fear is actually also not bad. No emotion is bad or good. They are neutral. They are higher and lower vibration. That's all there is to it, higher and lower vibration, and we need them all to really experience life fully. So not even fear is bad. It's more of the worry that comes with fear, the thoughts, the beliefs, and the stories. But again, both have a very profound message for us that we need to learn to listen to. Anxiety goes beyond the normal stress level in life that we experience. Now, I know, and maybe I should do another session on that, or maybe I have already. I don't know. Stress is not an emotion. Sometimes we say, "How do you feel today?" And people are like, "Oh, I feel stressed." We do not feel stress. Stress is a reaction to something else that's going on the deeper end. It could be anger, it could be disappointment, it could be shame, it could be whatever is underneath the actual stress. The questions are, and I probably should do another session on that, but anxiety is beyond what we consider as the normal stress level. It mostly manifests within us because of, and listen, unidentified and unresolved feelings and emotions. Anxiety is established and manifested, excuse me, I have some in my throat, manifest within us because of unidentified and unresolved feelings and emotions. Just to be clear on that, everything is energy, everything is free-flowing or should be free-flowing in our body. And when we have some experience that is a traumatic experience, or even just something that we inherited, again, as I said, birth story, from our mother and our father, and it's just stuck in our otherwise perfect DNA, it stops the energy flow, the free flow inside of us. And when we free flow, we're really connected to the divine. We're identifying more as a spiritual being than as a physical being. And that is so exhilarating to even think about. If everything is free flowing, we're so much more connected on a heart and a soul level that we can really live out our calling and our purpose on a much different level. So where was I with that? Oh, unidentified and unresolved feelings and emotions. Some of us are pretty much aware of the triggers that create or that lead to the anxiety, but I would say most of us really don't. They just suddenly, it just comes up. You can feel it, like it's coming from your gut, from your stomach, and it just comes all the way up, and at some point it just, you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, right? And some of us really have that anxiety, that worry about the future the whole time. So the first thing that we need to understand are the triggers. And The triggers could be related to some kind of overwhelm that we experience, overstimulation of the nervous system. For example, triggers can be if you have too many toxins in your body, or if you're around people that are very negative. Especially for you, empath, this is really important for you. Everything that comes at you can be part of the overstimulation, okay? And so that can be a trigger, the overstimulation of the nervous system. And then it could also be related to your beliefs, the stories that you have about yourself, the stories or situations, events, anything could literally be a trigger for your anxiety or for your panic attacks. And anxiety represents an irrational fear about something or someone or yourself or circumstances. So it's irrational. It's something that we put together in our head that becomes our truth, our reality. And again, what seems to be your reality is not necessarily my reality. So sometimes it might be hard for me to understand why you see that as a reality, why this could happen, but it becomes your truth. If you look at it from the outside as an observer, it's absolutely irrational most of the time. So when we experience anxiety, it literally is an indication that we're no longer present in the moment, in the here and now. Usually anxiety happens when we are either in the past, we try to figure things out, we try to fix something, or we wish we could have fixed something, or we could have changed something about a specific situation, or we're worrying about the future. We are so concerned about what is going to happen next, and then all the crazy stories come up in our mind, right? Maybe we don't have enough money, or what if this and this happens, Murphy's Law, all those things we start to worry about the future. And by the way, someone who worries a lot about the future, kidney problems are related to that. So if you have a lot of kidney stones or tumors, anything that's related to kidneys, it is an indication in most cases, because again, over 90% of all illnesses, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, whatever, is related to trapped emotions. So kidney problems lead back to worrying about the future. So if you experience a lot of kidney problems, you might want to think about what you're really worrying about, what it is about. Also, anxiety is an indication of emotional imbalance. I already mentioned that before. Everything that we experience is energy. Everything that we feel is energy. And so emotional imbalance creates chemical imbalance within our body, and each chemical in our body has a specific function. So if they're out of balance, they no longer work as they should, and then your body's trying to put you back, and again, then overload and overstimulation within your body, and that can create anxiety in a lot of cases. In most cases, it comes down to feeling safe. I have experienced that with most of my clients. Every time we talk about the anxiety, whatever it is, it goes back to not feeling safe. And that could be physically, that could be emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. You feel like you're under attack, you don't feel safe. And that is when we know we're not in the present moment, because only in the present moment we can actually feel safe. And the safety that we need is we're only able to get that from inside, from our heart, our soul, on such a deep core level that that is where we can experience true safety. Because again, our circumstances can change, people can show up, and things can happen. And all those changes pushes out of sometimes our comfort zone, or we don't feel safe suddenly. But the only way to stay in the here and now is to recognize the safety from within. And that takes some practice. It took me quite a while. And honestly, I don't think without my coach, Jennifer Yesu, I would have been able to get to that place of safety. Yes, I owe it to her, and I'm sure she would love to hear that. So whatever triggered the anxiety, again, it can go back to childhood experiences. It can be inherited, something that happened during the pregnancy of your mother and your father, and even from them, it can be inherited from their parents, and they just have never dealt with it. They just lived with it for the whole year, for their whole life, and so now it's on you. But those can be all triggers. And those are rooted in some kind of attachment to the event, to the trauma, potentially, to the emotion. And it is also related to, as I said, fear and worry. So it's something to think about. So this worry and fear has been hanging around in your body for a very long time. Most of the time. Anxiety doesn't just happen. It is established over time. Sometimes we think, oh my gosh, suddenly I have anxiety attacks, but it is more of a trigger of what is imprinted into your subconscious mind. You might be afraid that someone, or that you end up like someone in your family, or that you may have the same thing as someone in your family. Like, there are still triggers that go way far back. It doesn't just happen, it establishes, because at some point anxiety is an overstimulation in your body, and then your body is fighting, and that what creates the anxiety. Okay, and so where was I made some notes, and so I can stay on track. Okay, so yeah, it is just hanging out in your body, literally. And while it is hanging out in your body, you can envision it. Like, the longer it sits there, envision that emotion as, or that event, that traumatic event, the memory of that event as a ball in your body. Like, somewhere in your body, often it is around the heart, where anxiety is sitting. And somewhere in your body, there is a big ball that is a trigger of whatever happened in the past. And then it becomes really comfortable. It's hanging out there, and it's just making itself at home. It feels cozy, right? And at some point, it builds a little shed for itself to have it a little bit cozier. So you can envision it like a closet around your heart with a ball in it, the trigger, the event, the emotion that is connected to this event. And so he sits there in that closet, and you close the door. And what happens is that every time something happens could be through smell, words, situations, people, the door suddenly opens, you feed the ball is getting bigger, and the longer it's going on, the bigger the ball gets, the bigger the closet has to become. And that's when your nervous system jumps in right away to protect you. Like, whoa, wait a second, we're out of balance. There's something not working right. And so there's literally an internal war going on between your nervous system as well as your subconscious and your conscious mind. Between your subconscious, what it knows, what is possible for you, and your conscious mind seeing what is happening to you. With each anxiety, the trigger becomes your reality in that moment. And so you're literally feeding every time that the trigger is happening. Like, if, again, as if through smell or situations, you're feeding the ball, and the ball gets bigger, and then it needs a bigger shed where it can live. And it just becomes bigger and bigger. And we know it, if you have anxiety over a period of time, it becomes worse and worse. At some point, it gets, that war creates like a tightness in your chest. Most people feel like they can't breathe anymore because, again, your body is trying to fight that monster in the closet, and no longer is really connecting to the breathing, or your heartbeat is faster, or you feel like you're dying from within. Like, this is how bad it is, because, again, that trigger, and your nervous system is trying to make it right, to get you back into balance. So and when most people who have anxiety also take medications. So what happens when we do take medications, it only works short term because the trigger is still there. It doesn't remove the trigger. It just closes the closet door. And as long as we don't see the monster in the closet, we're fine until the trigger happens again, opens the closet door, feeds the trigger, and it gets bigger again. So medications are only good for short-term acknowledgement of what the problem is, but it doesn't help you in any way long-term to really understand the message of anxiety. And I know it's hard to even understand that there is a gift in anxiety because it feels so bad. Like, we feel so bad in that moment, but there really is a gift, let me tell you. Now, it's a little bit of a longer video, but I really hope you're listening till the end. Most people say just take medications, you're going to be fine. But we also have now seen an increase in holistic approach when it comes to anxiety, which is great. But still, we often do not remove the root of the problem. The monster in the closet. where every now and then the door jumps open and we see the monster, but we don't want to face it, so we just close the door by medications, or we just close the door once the anxiety attack is over. Doesn't help us, right? So when we realize anxiety is coming on, often what therapists tell you is to count down from 300 down to 1, because when your brain is no longer focused on the attack, it shortens the attack, and it's just redirecting the path, the direction in your brain, how it goes. Because again, what you focus on, you create more of. If you focus on anxiety, it becomes more. If you focus on counting, you become more calm in that moment. So that really does help. But again, there is a gift within the anxiety. There is a message that comes with it, because what happens when an attack happens? Stop. Right there, stop. Your body stops, and it tells you, you need to stop. You need to overthink a couple things in your mind and in your life that are not in alignment with who you are, and it makes you stop. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't stop. You would just continue with whatever. And the question to ask yourself is, what actually triggered the anxiety, for one? Pay attention over time. It may not work right the first time or the second time, but you will realize the triggers. There might be several, there might be just one. But what is the trigger that really created the anxiety? And anxiety is about letting go, being able to be complete with something. So again, we need to ask what that monster in the closet is about. What do I need to let go of? What do I need to be complete with? What am I not willing to face? And what am I not willing to confront? Like, sometimes you really have to look the monster in the face to loosen the fear around that monster and to be able to get rid of it. It's like, once a monster is being seen and being discovered, it no longer even wants to play with you. It's like, oh, that's getting boring. I can't scare them anymore. Like, I can't say boo and here I am and you have an anxiety attack. Now it's getting boring, and then it just leaves. Just saying. So there are some really good questions to ask yourself, even if it's after, if you're not able to do it in that moment. But once it's on, like, okay, what is it that I really need to face inside of me? What is it that I need to let go of? What is it that I need to be complete with to really move forward in my life and understanding my calling and my purpose? With empaths, I'm just saying, with empath, anxiety can literally stop you from understanding your true gifts as an empath. So if you're an empath and you're watching that and you're suffering from anxiety, there's a high percentage or a high possibility that you do. It takes away, it covers the path between, okay, what I said, emotions are a channel between your subconscious and your conscious, and like, therefore your soul and your mind, your brain. And so when you have anxiety attacks, that clutters that channel, and you can't even recognize the gifts that come with an empath. You just know that you're overwhelmed. Okay, so to really resolve that, you will have to practice to tune in on a very deep level and really ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself and not trying to sabotage yourself, like, oh, that's not it. It's not going to be that bad. But you really do have to face it. Again, it is a message. It is something that puts you back on your path, getting you the direction for your life to really, truly live your calling and your passion. Because, again, that is where you need to be to make a difference in the society. It doesn't mean that you have to be out there and you have to serve thousands and thousands of people. But even just in small ways, this can really be in the way for you to living your calling. So there are a couple different ways that you can face it. For one, you can ask for support. I'm here and I'm telling you, emotional clearing sessions are amazing for anxiety. There are clients that have experienced less anxiety because often there are more emotions connected to the anxiety that need to be released, events that need to be faced, because over time it just adds up. And others were able to get rid of anxiety altogether. So, for example, let's call this one client Judy. I don't think I ever had a client named Judy, but that's okay. Let's call her Judy. She had literally anxiety attacks, panic attacks almost every other day. It was that bad. and she didn't know where it was coming from. She took medications, and at some point she needed to get stronger medication, and she didn't want to take those medications. So she asked me for help. She said, okay, I don't know what to do. I heard that you can potentially help. So we did some emotions clearing. At first, we removed the first emotion. I think it was something about, is it probably worry? Sometimes it's also horror or terror, depending on what the trauma was. And with each emotion we released, she could feel how her heart became lighter and lighter. And slowly we opened the door, but because we were able to face it, and we were able to face it together, the monster was no longer huge and intimidating. We were able to just let it go, and then at some point remove the barn that it was living in. And once we removed all of that, like, she could feel it. She's like, I can feel it around my heart. It feels lighter and lighter. And each week, she's like, I feel like I haven't had any anxiety attacks for a while now. And I was like, yes, that's awesome. And then we started she started to realize the free-flowing energy, like the wound that was there from the closet that was sitting there started to heal. She was able to fill it up with love and light and compassion for herself. And the healing process started, and then suddenly she was able to do things that she wasn't even aware she could before. In her case, it was some kind of project that she was working on. I think it was a book or something in that range, something writing, and she had a block there, and every time she wanted to write, the anxiety also came up, so there was a trigger there too, but she was able to write. That is just an example of what is possible through emotions clearing. And if you don't believe me, go to my website under testimonies. There's so many testimonies of people that have experienced incredible results, and I can't do that. I really have to give all the glory to God, because this is just how I work, and I've been given those gifts, and I know I need to use them for a greater good, and I can't just use them for myself. And I don't know. I'm just always so fascinated and just love it. Anyways, but if you don't feel drawn to working with me, that's fine too. Even though I would love for you to work with me, because I'm really good at it. Just saying, I'm good at it. But if you don't feel drawn to it, I'm not. I don't blame you. You may not know me. Maybe you don't trust me yet. That's okay too. But if you want to work through that on your own, you have to really be very consistent with creating awareness. Again, what are the triggers? And then ask yourself consistently the questions. What do I need to let go of? What is it that I need to face? What do I need to be complete with? Okay. You have to really create a routine that helps you to be more intentional, to create a sacred space for yourself where you can tune in, where you can really connect with your heart and your soul to get the answers from within. And again, then you're able to, at least what you can face no longer is scary. It's the same with fear. And again, fear is not really what we make it. We made up all those labels for the emotions, and actually they're not bad at all. I can't even stand that overcoming fear. No, just acknowledge it and ask the right questions. We don't have to overcome anything. Everything has its purpose for us to really truly live and exist and live our life, and not just dabble each day and do whatever we feel like we want to do. So you really have to identify the monster in the closet. If you want to I don't want to use the word overcome anxiety. No, if you want to work through anxiety, let's say it that way. Helpful practices for anyone who suffers from anxiety really is to set a schedule. You can create a well-being schedule in your house, like on your refrigerator, where you can say, okay, those are the things that I need to do every single day to really create more awareness, to really be more myself, and to create balance, again, emotional and chemical balance within your body. So what helps is a regular meditation. I do it every morning for at least 20 minutes, and when I need it, sometimes before bedtime too. Creating physical and emotional balance, again, through emotions clearing sessions. If you know someone else who does something similar, please reach out and ask for help. It is worth it, especially if you have anxiety that has you end up in the emergency room every now and then. You can compare an emotions clearing session to an emergency visit, what feels a little better and what might actually save you some money there too. Just saying. Grounding is another tool that is important for your toolbox. As someone who suffers from anxiety, grounding, being out in nature. We are not outside enough. We are more watching Netflix, binge watching. And instead we should binge walking outside in the forest. Really connect with nature. If you can, and I wouldn't do it in the winter, like I personally wouldn't, but some people do. Go out barefoot. That really creates the connection between the soil, the earth, and you, and creates balance within your meridians. I'm not going to get into that more, but just trust me on this one. Creating a sacred practice, again, including meditation, including prayer, including rest, enough rest. Like for me, it's important that I take at least 10-minute nap each day before I even start to work. It's just something that I need. Most empaths need more rest. So if you are one, please consider that somehow you need more rest. Maybe you need more sleep too. You might have to change your sleeping schedule. Restorative nutrition. No more junk food, because anything that is toxic to your body, chemical overload, creates the imbalance that can, again, be used as a trigger to create anxiety. And also light exercise like yoga. In a lot of cases, light exercises help those who suffer from anxiety much more because it calms our nervous system. Sometimes it's good to just let things out and you need to go for a run. But in most cases, like I realized for myself, yoga or Pilates is much more beneficial to me than going crazy and running. Maybe that's just an excuse, to be honest, because I don't like running that much. I do like kickboxing, so I really do enjoy that one. Like I can kick your butt. Just saying. But yoga is really great too. I'm not as flexible, so I probably should do some more. Anyways, I really, really hope this was beneficial to you. I really hope that this got you in some of a hopeful state of, hey, I don't actually have to live with anxiety. There are ways to work through this. There are ways to understand the message of what it tries to tell me. And then I can come out of this much stronger and really knowing, hey, I am on my path. I am on the journey that I'm called to. I'm able to leave things behind. I'm able to be present in the moment where all the opportunities and possibilities are. So I really hope that this gave you some hope. If you like it and you watch it till the end, by the way, for the month of November, if you're interested, I have package deals for the emotions clearing sessions. But you can also just try one session and see how it works. There's even the money back guarantee. If I realize there's no way to working with you because you're totally shut down, you get your money back. So you really don't have anything to lose. But for the month of November, if you sign up with the packages, you can sign up for 3 and you get 1 for free, or you can sign up for 6 sessions and you get 2 for free, which that either saves you around $200 or $400. That's pretty good. If you have 1 session and you refer 3 people that do at least 1 session with me, you get 1 session is free as well. So that again saves you 2. Maybe it's just the experience, you know. And in our group, sometimes I give them away too as a gift. If you want to follow, want to join us, please do. World Visionaries United. Empath Warriors. I think that's it's an amazing group. I love my people. Anyways, like the post, love it. I really sometimes like to get some acknowledgement about what I teach and not just see the views go up and nothing comes. I'm like, was it that bad? Was I so horrible? Like, did it really not click with anyone? Or did I just push your buttons? Maybe I just did that, but that's all right too. But some likes and love and maybe some sharing and comments would be great to interact and see. I'm like, hey, actually people are interested in what I share. Would be good. Anyways, I hope this helped you. And then I'll talk to you again next time with a new video. I'm not sure what to talk about, but it always comes something up. And have a great night for tonight. And I need to get back to my work. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.